Senti, questa è la cosa nostra. It's our thing. Capisci? Centerland, the land of center. Hello, welcome, benvenuti, ciao a tutti. It's Chris back. Today it's not a fragrance review. It's a video that I dedicate, a shout out that I give to my favorite YouTuber out there, and indeed somebody that I've been following for a number of years, Sammy the Bull Gravano. Now this name tells you a lot if you're a fan of the history of La Cosa Nostra, the mafia, the mob, especially in New York, and the five New York mob families: Lucchese, Genovese, Colombo, Bonanno, and Gambino. Okay, now Sammy, wow, what a guy. First of all, if Sammy ever manages to watch this, if he has enough time between his fantastic videos and podcasts, and he's been terribly busy in a positive way, salute, Sammy. You know, you're a legend, absolute legend. Beautiful wine. It's actually a Spanish wine from Andres Iniesta, Corazon Loco, and it really fits Sammy, I think, because the crazy heart. Okay, a guy who is a bit crazy and has a huge heart, and his story is tremendous, and his personality is genuine, and of course you could say, you know, just briefly, Sammy the Bull has been around, you know, in the mob, in the New York mob. First with the Colombos, then with the Gambinos. Since the early 70s, he's been with the Rampers, who were a street gang in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. He's been born in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. He's now 76 years old. Like, he served 20 plus years in prison. And when they put him away in 1990, he was the underboss of the Gambino family, the underboss to John Gotti, and that's his brief story. You know, he's a tough guy. He's still a tough guy, in tremendous shape. But you could ask me, why are you dedicating you know, even a minute of your time to a guy who has been, you know, involved in 19 murders and you know, so much crime and all these things. And I appreciate that opinion. Okay, I can ask back, like, why are you going to vote for politicians who then proceed to kill thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people around the globe, intervene into places where they shouldn't, and you know, indirectly are involved in killing people all around the globe. Okay, so I could ask you that question. I don't, because I'm not going into this stuff. So if I respect anybody going out to vote for X, Y, and Z politician, please, you know, show me the respect when I, you know, share this topic with you that I'm very passionate about. Why am I passionate about Sammy the Bull? Because there's lots of guys out there that you know, former mob people, that come out and tell their story, like Michael Francis, John A. Light, and some of their stuff is good, some of their stuff is not so good, at least in my opinion, you know. But Sammy, what Sammy does perfectly is he is building up his, you know, his history, and he's leaving the heritage, not only his, because most of the stories are not even about him. It's about the history of the Cosa Nostra in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s in America, and obviously in the United States. So that is the topic, and with his tremendous talent of storytelling, extremely intelligent storytelling, and it's not only that, but it's really gripping you and taking you straight back into those times. The way Sammy is able to tell the story. Nobody I've seen, you know. And Sammy is not an educated person. He tells it himself. He dropped out of school fairly early. Yet his storytelling, the way he tells the story, and the way he invites you in and shares it with this very, you know, gripping passion that he has, and the verbal abilities that he has, and he brings across, and the time, he knows the timing perfectly, and his team behind him, you know, people that help him, including Peanuts, they're just fantastic people. Because why do I say this? Because the end result is just, I think, absolute and utter world class. The videos and the podcast that he's doing, again, about stories of the Cosa Nostra, stories of the mafia in the United States, in New York. He's telling so many things about his Gumbada Alley Boy, about people like Paul Castellano, John Gotti, Roy DeMeo, and I could go on, Frankie De Chico. I could on, you know, could go on for ages about this. What I want to say is that it really, somehow, if this is your passion, the story of the history of the mob in the United States, especially again in New York, then there's no better channel and no better place to be than on Sammy the Bull Gravano's channel, YouTube channel, where again he has videos on a regular basis, and now the second series of his podcast started as well. Absolutely gripping, absolutely fabulous, and you can actually, when you hear him tell a story, you're there in the car with him, an alley boy. You're in the bar, you're on the streets of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, or you are standing on the corner as Paul Castellano gets whacked on 46th Street in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, and it's incredible. You can, the way he talks, obviously he has the typical Brooklyn Bensonhurst tough guy, you know, a way of speaking, which appeals to me 100 trillion%. Okay, he has the Italian heart, definitely. He is all about Cosa Nostra. Okay, and you could, again, there's many critics, and I won't get into the critical part here. Is like, you know, many people calling him bad names. Okay, first of all, if you're such a tough guy, you know, call him bad names, tell it to his face, okay? Tell it to his face, because there's so many keyboard warriors out there, you know, being so you know, smart and tough and knowledgeable. You know, anybody who is active now in our, and I'm including myself, yeah, we were born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s maybe, some of you guys out there, we can't even think about, you know, those times. We can't even imagine what you know, impacts, how those times in the 60s, 70s, 80s were like on the streets of New York. Okay, so we better shut up, okay, and listen to this man, because he's leaving a tremendous heritage, a tremendous piece of history in his videos and podcasts behind for us to listen, to be able to listen to, and to be able to you know, imagine. He is sharing these tremendous stories about himself and about all the people that were out there, because there's barely nobody who does that. Okay, again, I mentioned a few names, but you know, and the FBI, I'm sure, has all these stories back and forth in their files, but nobody tells it like Sammy. Okay, he is really capable of reaching out to you through the screen, grabbing you and pulling you into his story that plays in the 60s and 70s and the 80s and even the 90s in New York, whether it's been with the Colombo family, the Gambino family, or even with the Rampers, or like, the stories are world class. Trust me. I'm gonna put the link to Sammy's channel down below, so you'll be able to, you know, if you're interested again in the topic. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea or cup of wine, okay, a glass of wine, but it's worth it. Even if you're not, and just dedicate, you know, take 10-15 minutes out of your life and watch one video of Sammy the Bull telling a story from the old days in La Cosa Nostra. And I'm sure that even if you're not interested in the topic at all, it will give you something. It will, even the story, the way he is verbally articulating the things he wants to say it's incredible. The way he's breathing, especially his breathing out. I love his breathing out. I think that's one of the. It's just a tremendous tool, and I don't think that he does it on purpose. He is just, every time he tells a story, he is in the story. So when he tells something and about himself, an alley boy, fucking some things up, making a mess somewhere, and he stops in the middle of the story and exhales like, and then continues. It's absolutely world class, let me tell you. So, and if I would have if I would need to choose of people that would love to have a dinner anywhere around the world, but most apparently in New York or Arizona, I would pick Sammy the Bull to have the opportunity to sit down with this man and talk, or just shut the fuck up and listen, what this guy has to say, and don't judge. Of course, he's not a saint. Nobody says he's a criminal. Like, he's a gangster. He's been around for so many years in this life, and he remains a gangster. What else do you want? So, if you don't like gangsters, you can raise your opinion. Anybody can, but who gives a fuck? Anyway, he is what he is. He doesn't try to be anything else. Okay, not for a second. Okay. So don't judge him, or don't judge me that I like somebody like him, because again, there's so many people out there pretending to be saints, and let me tell you, they're not. Okay, so if I would have the chance to sit down with somebody for dinner, somebody famous, I would choose on the first place Sammy the Bull Gravano, because he's just the best. And during this dinner, maybe if he would ask me what I'm doing, I would tell him that I'm in fragrances, and he would ask me, what do you think sort of fragrances that I should wear? And this was a topic for my one or two of my videos that I did. Fragrances were wise guys, and I reviewed Two Saggy Woman and all that. If Sammy the Bull would ask me what do you think I should wear these days? Okay, not in the old days, but these days, I would give him 3 fragrances that I think fit Sammy the Bull's Gravano's current profile and current way of being. He's always dressed casually, but he's a tough guy, but he has a very, very nice style. So, I would say this would fit very well. Angel Schlesser Essential, with its tremendous musky coffee note and fresh apple. It's so New York smelling, this one, and it's modern, and Sammy is modern as ever, with his new life. This fragrance would totally fit his current personality, I'm 100% sure. If you want to get a little bit more nostalgic, I would say, Sammy, you could sometimes pull this Tuscany per uomo to get back to the good old Italian roots, although he's obviously not from Tuscany but from Sicily. Still very nice Italian lemony spices blended to perfection. Or if you want to just close your eyes and get back into the mid 1970s, thinking about whacking people, then you can pull this one, Bogar City Tower. Okay, this smells of the cigarette ashes in the 1975 Cadillac's ashtray, and the wooden, not the wooden, partially wooden, but more plastic dashboard, and probably a bit of gunpowder in the air as well. City Tower smells like a hitman. This smells absolutely merciless and cold-blooded, just like a hitman in the 70s of the New York Mafia. Okay, and if you like this story, press like, subscribe always, and Take care of you, and adios, motherfucker. Love you, Sammy!